In the world of many internal and external voices, the voice you listen to is the voice that dictates your life. Would you like to discover a clear path to a life of freedom and fulfillment? Then welcome to All About the Voice podcast, where we focus on awareness, alignment, and action in order to live a life of abundance. I am your host, Victoria Rader. Whatever it takes, and no matter what, from abuse-filled childhood and extreme poverty to running 7 multi-million-dollar businesses and being a CEO of a company managing over $1 billion, Marissa Nehlsen, money and business strategist, is a voice for all things working for your good. Marissa found her voice in life and wants to help as many people as she can find their own voice so they too can live life rich. Here is Marissa. All right, and here with me in the studio, so to say long distance, is amazing Marissa Nehlsen. Marissa, welcome to All About the Voice.
Hey, welcome to me. Welcome to you. Welcome to all of the listeners here today. Thank you so much, Victoria, for having us. You know, we appreciate you letting us into your space and into your house, me and all the listeners that are listening right now. Thank you.
Well, great. So I just have to preface that, very often in life you get ready for something and you take 900 little pages of notes and then you throw it by the wayside. And that's been kind of the story of the podcast for me. So as I was thinking of how to best share Marissa with all of us, I was thinking, here's the person who's so incredibly busy in a good, fulfilling sense of the word, just constantly living your purpose and sharing the abundance that you've gained in your life, only to find out that I had no idea how really busy you are. So tell us what it is that you found yourself in the middle of right now.
Well, a few months ago, my son, who has been struggling with drug addiction since he was a teenager, actually, was sentenced to 5 years in prison, which, let me just say, the days that break your heart are also the days that you remember the most in your life. And I think if we can, as people, I'm a person of faith, so I say, break my heart for what breaks yours. And on that day, I had a new understanding of what it means to have to say farewell for a period of time and really put someone you love in other hands and say, whatever it takes to get him clean, if this is it, then this is it, right? Whatever it takes. So I remember literally on my knees at the courthouse when they are taking my son away in handcuffs. And I thought, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So a few weeks before then, my ex-husband and I, we got custody, full custody of my 2-year-old and 1-year-old grandchildren. And so we're going to raise the babies part-time. And a few weeks ago, he said, at this season in my life, we can't swing it. We just can't do it. And I said, all right, well, again, I'm a person of faith. So I would just share with you, take a pill if you're not a person of faith. I just take a pill. Okay, I'm not here to convert you. I'm just telling you, this is my story. This is how it rolls. This is how I roll. But, I now am raising my 2-year-old and 1-year-old. One of them is special needs. He was born premature and he's born drug addicted and many issues. So 18 months, actually. He'll be 18 months this month and she'll be 2.5 this month. So they're fun. Hazel and Luca, my little loves of my life. But on top of that, of course, I'm running 7 multi-million-dollar businesses. I'm the CEO of a company that manages well over $1 billion. And you just go in, baby puke and all. You just go in, dirty diapers and all, and you say, you know what, whatever it takes and no matter what. And what I believe is that love can conquer many and all things. So love can conquer all.
Marissa, I have an acronym for love. I say love is life originating vibrant emotion, with emotion being energy in motion. So I truly believe what adds to life is love. And what subtracts from life is the absence of it. And I think very often people are so afraid of losing love, but really they're afraid of losing themselves to it. They're not. So you've mentioned 7. Well, first of all, you will be in my prayers, and in the prayers, meditation, chanting, or whatever the audience can offer based on their path of faith, surrounding you and pouring that love and energy towards you, and this amazing, amazing attitude of, I've got this because God's got me. So I personally believe that this is the attitude that got you to these 7 multi-million-dollar businesses. Take us on that journey. Where does it start?
Well, it very first started, I think when we talk about really what your podcast exists to talk about, years ago when I was a little girl, I grew up in a super abusive home. My dad was just a really troubled guy and had many issues. But I remember one day I was 9 years old. I had forgotten to put the towels in the dryer, and he was set to go to a funeral. And I'd forgotten to put the towels to dry, so there was no clean towels. And he came in, and I realized my mistake, and I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble. So I ran, but he was 6'8", big, tall guy. He caught up with me in the laundry room, and he, I'm a scrawny little 9-year-old girl with pigtails, and he throws me up against the wall, and I am literally laying at his feet in a puddle, and he started kicking me and kicking me and kicking me and kicking me. And I remember this voice literally in my head, but it wasn't audible. It was in me, right? Mm-hmm. And it said, get up. Get up, get up. You've got to get up right now. Get up. And I got up to my feet, could barely stand. I mean, he's got big black steel-toed boots that he's kicking me with. So this is not like, hey, I just fell over. But for the strength of whatever it was inside me in that moment, picked me up, and I pointed my finger in the air. And I said, if you hit me again, I'm telling everybody. If you hit me again, you better just kill me, because I'm going to tell everybody who you are and what you are. So you better kill me now, because I'm going to tell everybody. I'm telling everybody. And he took a step back, and he looked at me, and his eyes got all big, and he turned around and walked out of the room.
Wow.
And after that date, he never touched me. He never hit me. He used to beat my mother. He used to beat my brothers. He used to beat everyone. My sisters, but not me. And in that moment, God, I believe, put a hedge of protection around me. But I listened to that voice, and I got up in that moment, and it changed the trajectory of my life. And then years later, finally, my mom at 14 years old left, and we moved into a 2-bedroom trailer house. Now, I know you've got a worldwide audience, so this is like a little mobile home on wheels. Mm-hmm. And we live in North Dakota, so it's much like Finland, actually. So if you've got Finland listeners, it's funny, I was in Finland last year before COVID. Beautiful, beautiful country, but it's very, very cold. So Helsinki is where I was at, actually. And it's very, very cold. And so most of our ancestors actually come from that area to the North Dakota area. So it's interesting. A lot of Norway, a lot of Finland. So we move into this 2-bedroom trailer with no heat in the winter in North Dakota. And I remember watching one of those old Feed the Children TV shows, late night TV. And she had put an old kerosene lantern in the middle of the living room. And I was watching this thing, and Mom made everything fun. We thought we were having a campfire in the living room. We just didn't know we were poor and we couldn't afford heat, right? Like, we just thought we were having a campfire. And she had nailed blankets and old quilts to the doors and to the walls and going down the hallway to capture the heat and keep the heat in the living room. And then we all camped out around this kerosene lantern. And Mom had fished out an old brown couch out of a dumpster. I remember helping her do it. Hop in there and pull her out. Let's get her. Yeah. And my mom's laying on this couch, and I looked up at her and I said, Mom, we're like those poor people that they talk about on TV, aren't we? But we're not just poor. We're really poor because they have food. We don't have food. Like, we don't have heat. And she said, yes, Marissa, we are poor, but you have a decision to make. I was 14 years old. In that moment as a parent, for me, this was my mother's finest hour for me in my life. Mm-hmm. She said, yes, we are poor, but you've got a choice to make. You've got a decision. You have 2 choices. You have a decision to make. You can be a victim or you can be victorious. What will you choose? You can be a victim or you can be victorious. What will you choose?
And you're 14.
I'm 14. Absolutely changed the trajectory of my life. So when you asked where I started from really those 2 moments in my life. And then I got a hold of, a Zig Ziglar quote that said, if you help enough people get what they want, you can have your heart's desire. Yeah, you can get what you want.
You can get anything you want as long as you help enough people to get what they want. I love that.
That's right. Yeah, and that helped me start a company from the basement of my home with $5.
So what was your first company with a
My
$5 collateral?
Yeah, my first company actually. So, for those of you that are listening, I don't know where you're at in the world, but let me just say, if I was sitting across your kitchen table from you right now, I'd say that there are some times that you don't know what your dream is yet, or maybe you're kind of developing this as time goes along. But sometimes you just need to say yes. You need to say yes scared. You need to say yes ugly. You need to say yes dirty. You need to say yes. You need to say yes when you don't think you can deserve it and you don't think you can do it. You need to say yes.
And when they're saying yes, when I'm saying yes, what is it that you think we're all saying yes to?
I think you're saying yes to opportunity because it comes knocking, but it's whether you answer the door and then you choose to take the next right step forward in your life. Olaf, I don't know if you've watched. Did you watch that movie, that Frozen movie?
Frozen, yes,
movie?
yes.
Yeah. They have Olaf. I love Olaf. He's the snowman in the Frozen movie. And Olaf says, it's the second movie. By the way, for those of you who have not watched Frozen 2, spoiler alert, I'm about to spoil the movie. So if you still want to watch it, just I'm so sorry.
But take that pill again.
Take that pill.
At the beginning, yeah.
Just take a pill. Just take a pill. So Olaf says to her, Olaf's about to float away. His magic is gone. And he's holding Anna is there. And she's saying, Olaf, I love you. Don't go. I need you. And he says, you can do it. Just take the next right step. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't think we can do it. I would never have imagined at 9 years old getting up and facing my dad, facing my giant, facing my fear in that way. I would never imagine that one thing has been an anchor in my life I come back to every time I'm fearful of something. Mm-hmm. When they told me, and I'll go back to this $5 story, my aunt was in an insurance business and she said, hey, you got a brand new baby. Now at this point, later on, I'm 17 years old, go looking for love in all the wrong places, got daddy issues. Yeah. I got some real people out there that have been through some real stuff.
Say yes to that and then say no.
Yeah. I got some real issues. They're gone now, but we had some real issues back then. Yeah. Anyway, so my real people know that I get pregnant at 18. I get married because that's what you do when you're 18 and you're pregnant. And I have this brand new baby and we're poor. And I'm living 2 doors down from my mama in the trailer court that I was raised in. And I looked at her and I said, I got to do something different to get something different. And my aunt said, hey, for $5 an appointment, I'll give you $5 for every appointment that you set. And we had these old recipe card boxes, Mm-hmm. And she gave me the recipe card box and she said, you're going to do something called smile and dial. And I said, what's a smile and dial? She said, you're going to pick up the phone. You're going to read what I wrote out for you to say. It's called a script. You're going to read it and you're going to book appointments in my calendar. And I said, okay. And I said, wait a minute. You're going to give me $5 for every one of these that I book? Now, keep in mind, I had no money to buy diapers. I had no money to buy milk. Mm-hmm. I'm delivering phone books. I'm cleaning up yard sales. I'm literally picking up aluminum cans to take to the recycling center to get money to buy groceries that week. And my aunt says, for $5, I said, how many appointments can I book a day? She said, well, as many as you can get. I said, okay, well, then you'll be starting at 7:30 a.m. and you'll be done at 8:30 a.m. or 8:30 p.m. So I was booking 10 and 12 appointments a day for this woman. So 10 appointments a day, that's $60. That's times 3 days. That's $180 I was making. And I said, man, I've never seen that much money in my life. Are you kidding me? $180 every week. I can make that much money. And she said, yes, you can. And then, a few months later, 6 months later, she says, hey, you're pretty good at this. You should take this big stack of books. It's about 1.5 feet high. You should take this big stack of books. You should learn all the stuff that's in here. And then you should go get tested for your insurance licensing and your investment licensing and all that stuff. I said, I don't even know anything about that. All I know how to do is say, hi, I'm Marissa Nehlsen. I'm representing Donna, right? And she said, yeah, but I think you could do this. But all you have to do is say yes.
So you had somebody who believed in you. That's also so important. And I think as we have you here, I want you guys to know that just being in Marissa's energy, I can tell you for a fact, she believes in you. This is, I think, what in the long run, I'm looking at the success and the trajectory. And I think you've allowed people to believe in you, and you are believing that anybody can do what you've done.
Absolutely.
What do they need? What mindset do they need to have to do what you've done?
Yeah, the first one is I think you've got to be willing to make mistakes and ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to be willing to believe that all things work together for your good. I believe it. I have it written down. It's memorized on my heart. It's memorized on my mind. It's memorized on my subconscious. It's memorized everywhere. It is everywhere. No matter what it is, all things work together for my good. All things. And all things doesn't mean some things. It doesn't mean a few things. It means everything, all things, every day, all the time. And I believe that for you. So if you're listening to this and you say, well, all things really, Marissa? Because, I'm holding the hand of my loved one that's struggling with cancer or some other awful disease. Yeah, I've been there too. I held my fiance in my arms as he took his last breath back in 2016 when he died of cancer, literally in my arms. And before he died, he said to me, Christmas Day, actually, best Christmas gift I've ever been given other than my faith. Best gift ever. I was praying over him. So again, take a pill if you're not a person of faith. But I was praying over him and he lifted my face in his hand. And he said, baby, you keep praying for a miracle, but I already got my miracle the day that I found you. I have my faith in Jesus. I know where I'm going. So you have to make me a promise. And I need you to promise me something because I don't want you to spend 5 years in a bottle. I don't want you to waste it. I don't want you to waste this day or any day. He said, I know you're going to be sad, but you were born to change the world. You were born for a greater purpose. You were born and they are waiting for you. They are waiting for you. So I need you to make me a promise that you will never waste a day. You will never waste a day. And I said, absolutely, I promise you. And since that day, when I literally was holding his hand and holding him in my arms, when he took his last breath, I told him, I love you so. I will keep my promise to never waste a day. That's why I'm here today, Victoria. It's why I'm here with your audience. And I want you to know, if you're listening to this, this is not a mistake. It is not by accident that you tuned into this moment in this time for you. You were meant to be here in this room with us. You were meant to hear this. This was meant to penetrate all the disbelief, all the junk, all the things that the enemy of your soul, your greatness, your future, your being comes against you and says, this is not for you. This is not, you can't do it. You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You're too fat. You're too skinny. You're too this. You're too that. You're too all of these things. It's a lie. It's a lie. And here's what I want you to say. All things work together for my good. All things. And so I look at that time and I think about now there are hundreds of women in Costa Rica. I went to Costa Rica and built sewing schools for women, and they are supporting their children and their families. And, I started 3 other companies after that. There are thousands of people that now have jobs and security and opportunity because of that. You can too. And for all of you that are really highly educated out there or who are not educated at all, let me just share with you, I have a high school education. I never went to college. I never went to university. I manage $1 billion. That is not by accident. That is not by accident. Now, I work my butt off. I'll be really, you got to be real. When they say you got to use your feet, use your hands and feet, baby. We got to get up. You got to do something. You got to take that next right step forward that Olaf talks about. Olaf gave Anna the best advice ever. He said, just take the next right step forward and then take another and then take another and then take another. That's the mindset. So when you ask where it comes from, that's where it is.
I love it. Love every little and big poignant point of what you just said. I say God will direct your path, but you got to move your feet.
Yeah.
There is no direction. There's no voice guiding you if you do not move your feet. And you've talked about how serendipitous this moment is. And I just have to share, I actually tonight, right after our podcast that I'm recording, I am doing the 6 of 7 part presentation that I do 35 laws of money, and I take spiritual laws and I do 5 a month, and then we do practical application. The reason I'm mentioning it is the 2 laws we're doing today out of 5 are the law of consecration and the law of serendipity. And you've describing it so serendipitously that everything happens for your good. And that is where, to me, the law of consecration comes in. You consecrate all your burdens, but you also consecrate all your possessions. You consecrate your very life, your very soul, with full understanding that everything works for your good. And as you do, things serendipitously unfold and they open the doors of those opportunities. So talk to me about those doors being opened for you and through you as you were taking just the next step.
Yeah, there's been so many. I would just share with you, there's some really important pieces for action steps that you take along the way. One of those is the space between your dreams over here and your hopes fulfilled, your dreams fulfilled, your hopes and dreams here, and then hopes and dreams fulfilled over here. Is the space in the middle for me is a plan, but it's a pivotal plan. It's a plan where you say, I am not so married to the plan that I can't adapt and overcome the changes that come my way. I'm not so married to the plan, I don't want you to miss this, that we can't adapt and overcome the changes that come our way. During COVID, I own several organizations, but in the financial services space, we manage a lot of money. We help people with all sorts of things from estate planning, putting their affairs in order, to risk management, to business building, to all of it. And during COVID, when the whole world is shut down and things are just madness, when the shutdown, right before the shutdown occurred, when I started hearing them canceling things all over the world, I said, guys, war room, because we're going to spiritual warfare time. People's minds are going to be in the crapper. Now, I know crapper is probably not a nice word, Victoria. I'm so sorry. So for all of you listening.
It's a real word. It's a real word.
Where's my real people? Where's my real people? My real people. Yeah, in my real people world, we say, you know what? Stuff hits the fan, and what do? Well, I said, we're going to have to help people through this. And so we hit the phones and work from home, work from the space. They did it in all places. And we hit the phones and we called every one of our clients every 2 weeks, all of our team.
Wow.
Every one of our clients every 2 weeks. And I said, we're just calling to check in on you. How are you doing? What can we do to serve you? How can we help you? What do you need help with? Tell me about your family. Are you safe? Are you protected? Is anyone what can we do? And during that time, unbeknownst to me, we were actually still doing a significant amount of business. I didn't know until 30 days later because I get my reports every 30 days. We had 148% growth in 1 year.
Wow.
In a financial services organization that is
during financial crisis.
Down during a worldwide global pandemic financial crisis. And we went, what? How did that happen? And then we went back and we started looking at all the things, and people had all these questions, and we kept answering. And they had time. They had time to prepare. They had time to think into it because they were home. And now they were saying, hey, let's get focused on this. Let's get husband and wife on same page. Let's get couple on same page. Let's get partnerships on same page. And they were doing it. We were doing it through Zoom. We had been using Zoom technology years before. But it was really interesting because as I led my team through it, I kept hearing this voice. The voice for me was, they need you. And it rang out from what James had said to me years before on that Christmas day. They need you. They're waiting for you. I told my team, I said, where there is no vision for people, the people perish. And so we have to help them keep their eye on the vision, on the ball, because this is hopefully, no one knows, but this is hopefully a short-term thing. This isn't going to last for 25 years. This is going to last for a season. And so what we need to do is we need them to know that, number one, they matter to us. Number two, we are here no matter what. We are the no matter what people. My clients call us the Mayo Clinic of Finance.
I love it. I love it.
So those are real action steps.
And, I think it was Rabbi Levin that I read a while back in Thou Shalt Prosper book, where he said that the seeds of prosperity is service. The service is the seeds of prosperity. And of course, you don't serve to prosper, but when you serve from the place of heart, as you and your team has, you cannot help but prosper. It's just a universal law. It is God's law of abundance because the seeds, prosperity as service. And I think you manage money, you serve people and you manage money. You lead people and you manage tasks. Very often, I think people get confused the two. They try to manage people, But what I want to highlight for our family here is that everybody thinks they need more money. They think that if only I get more money, Talk to us about that. You have this amazing understanding of how to make money work for you instead of you constantly slaving your freedom away, thinking if you just get more money. So
Yeah, yeah. It's really about multiplying what you have. And when I think about that, let me talk about the first thing about the mindset of if only I had more. I have many, many clients that have $100 million plus.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them within the last couple of years. Two of them came to me and said, I hate my life. I hate everything about my life. One has just abundance financially upon measure. But he said, you talk about, because I talk about 5 core areas of your life if you want to live life rich, 5 core areas. Emotionally, that's kind of where you're at with your growth, where you're at with your work-life balance. It's all of those things that fit into that spot. How do you feel about you when you look in the mirror? Do you feel like I did when I was going through my divorce years ago and I looked in the mirror and I hated myself? Because if you're in that place, I'm going to tell you there's a space on the other side of that place that is not the place. You do not have to stay looking in the mirror hating yourself. You don't have to. You don't have to stay in that place, but it takes some work and it takes some planning and it takes a process. But there are 5 key areas: emotional, relational, how are you with your relationships, primary love relationships, work relationships, people you do life with. How are you spiritually? Are you connected to something? Right? And is there something outside of you that's bigger than you that you realize, hey, there's a peace I can feel inside of me. There's a centeredness. There's a peace where I go, no matter what, I'm going to be okay and I'm not alone. And then physically, where are you at physically? So, if you're not in a good space, head and mind, you're definitely not going to be in a good place in your health and what you eat, and the choices you make every day, and what you do with your time, and where you sit, and where you stand, where you exercise, and all that kind of stuff. And then, we talk about emotional, relational, spiritual, physical, and financial. So financial, he said, I got financial down, like $100 million, I can't spend all the money I make, just the interest alone. I'm golden, right? But he said, 4 of my children won't talk to me. I've written one of them completely out of my will. My grandchildren literally despise me. And he said, I've driven away everyone in my life in my pursuit of more, And he said, what I realized is you have such a different take. And he literally flew me into Minneapolis. He wasn't a client yet at that time. He flew me into Minneapolis and he said, you got to fix my stuff. And I said, looks like everything's working good together here. She said, I know, but I hate my life. Mm-hmm. And he said, you help my friend. And I said, well, then we got to start living different. What do we need to do? What do you think you need to do? What do you think you need? I mean, really, what do you think? Well, he's like, I don't want to die alone. He's 78. Die alone. So when you ask yourself, what's more for? Past the need of, hey, I have my house done and my food is met and my clothing is met and my people are good and I've got good health care, past all of that kind of stuff, past the basics that we need. The question I would ask you is, what do you want more for? What can more be used for? And I have an abundance mindset because I have more than I ever imagined. I have more than I ever dreamed or imagined. Literally, God gave me a mountain a few years ago. Gave me a mountain. I had this huge business deal come through, and the business deal came in the day before the mountain came up for sale. And I now own a mountain in Costa Rica where we're developing a retreat center for people to come and have a place of peace and healing and relaxation and rejuvenation, and a place where they can just breathe it in, breathe it out, enjoy that moment, take it in, not waste that day, and realize that we only get this exact moment in this day. And so let's use it well. Anyway, so when you come back to what do you want more for?
Beautiful. Beautiful. And just to understand that any material possession is a substitute for an emotional need. And that if you first answer that emotional need, and only when material possessions become irrelevant, the abundance floods into your life. I always say it's fascinating to me how it never changes. By the time money comes, you don't care, right? I mean, It's in my life, it's in any life. It's like, whatever. Okay, I'm too busy doing my thing here, God. I'm like busy. Okay, this is good. This is coming. So what a poignant question, kind of be more in order to have more, be more. Zig Ziglar, I think also, right? Be more first.
The more that you allow to flow through you, the more that will flow to you. It's much like we were talking before with mindset of these turning points, these pivot points in your life. It is literally how you see life. I believe that life does not happen to me. It happens for me. It happens for me. So what's my learn? What's my growth? Now, I have been able to travel the world and afford really fabulous things. I don't have to look at a price tag anywhere, anytime. It's not the issue of that. But I look at money completely different. And let me just do this for you for just one moment. If you're looking at money or the asset or the thing, the stuff, the material, whatever it is, as yours, you will continue to stay a broke, unhappy person for the rest of your life. And I've taught this principle for many, I've been doing this 28 years. This is not my first pony ride. I've helped thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of small business owners, from startups to scale up. I don't even know how many millionaires I have assisted along the way. I don't even know the number anymore. I don't keep track of it anymore because it doesn't matter. I get up every day and I do the very best I can for you.
Marissa, where would our listeners find more information about you? Now, in the outro and in the notes to the episode, you guys will find Marissa's website where you can find more information. But I also know I will put her amazing podcast there. But Marissa, in addition to the podcast and the site, how do we find more of your wisdom?
Well, so I've got several things. You have small business owners that are listening. You've got employees that are listening. You've got people from all over the world. I will tell you, I literally give away about 85% of what I create. And I'm going to give you one today that my team just said, you got to stop giving that away because it's too valuable and we need to sell it. And I said, we're not selling it. Here's what we're doing. We're going to give it away. Till I no longer can, we're going to give it away. So if you go to marissanehlsen.com/introductions, you can get a free mini course on introductions. Now, let me explain to you what I'm talking about, because there's many types of works that I do. I do courses in different things, but this one here is for everybody, everywhere, any country, any planet, anywhere in the world that you are today. This will apply to you. Because the art of the introduction is all about, what do you want them to say about you when you're there, when you're not there, and how do you want to introduce yourself? Now, why is this important if you're running a business or you're in a business? If you want to take it to the next level in your career, you want to have more influence. You want to have the ability to be, maybe even get a raise. In some people's worlds, that's really important right now. They need to get an increase in pay and they need to make it go along a little better for their family and for their funds. This will allow you to really understand, here's the questions that you need to ask and the things that need to be said about you. And then who do you know? It's also going to guide you through that. But then the last thing it's going to do is it's going to help you create what I call your perfect pitch. And your perfect pitch is who you are and what you do. Who you are and what you do. Totally free. You can have it. It's got 6 videos with it, a training video. You don't want to miss the download. It's got a 32 or 38 page workbook that goes with it. Please print the workbook out when you do it, because you're going to get an opportunity. When you type that in, it's going to end up right in your email box immediately after you type in marissanehlsen.com/introductions. And again, just so you have the spelling of that, because my name is spelled a little interesting, it's Marissa. Nehlsen is NEHLSEN.com/introductions. And you got it for free. It's all yours. Enjoy
Fantastic. What a generous gift. And once again, you guys, the link will be in the notes to the episode. So you'll just click the link. It'll take you right there. Take Marissa up on this super generous offer. Knowing who you are is the beginning of all abundance. And in some ways, you're going to be introduced to yourself in a way that will blow your mind away. So thank you. Now, Marissa, I ask these 3 questions at the end of every episode. I could talk to you, obviously, for years, but I know your time is precious, even more precious now. And so 3 questions. The first one is, if you had ability, and at this very moment you do, to go back to that 9-year-old girl, whether before she stands up to her dad or right after, wherever your heart takes you to, what would you tell her right now?
You are taking the next right step forward, and you will continue to do that through everything. You'll continue to do it through the loss of your marriage. You'll continue to do it through being a single mom raising 2 bipolar kids. You'll continue to do it through almost losing your companies. You'll continue to do it when you get up that day and you pound your fist at the air and you say, why, God, did you take him from my arms? You will continue to do it when the doctor tells you your eyesight is gone and you will now have to lead life blind, because you will walk by faith and not by fear. You will walk by faith and not by sight. You will walk with vision throughout your life. And I know that that's going to be scary at times, but I want you to know one thing, and it's what I would tell you that are listening right now. You are not alone. You are enough. You are called, you are sourced, and you are resourced in all things.
Oh, powerful. Next question. You kind of answered the third one, but I'll come back to it because I think it's so powerful coming from you and coming really through you as you speak. If we take you now forward 20 years and Marissa from 20 years from now, what would she tell you? What do you need to hear from her right now?
Wow, that's a big one. That's a big one because I've really learned that navigating life is keeping your eye on where you believe it going, but be on your knees every day. Like for me, I start my day with gratefulness, and I start my day with thank you every day. And before I go to sleep, thank you every day before I go to sleep. I had to reframe it in my head because I've been a jet setter the last 5-6 years, right? I've been all over the country, enjoying life, speaking wherever. It's been super fun, right? And now I'm raising babies. And I'm doing, I was at the doctor this morning with the baby with RSV, so when we get off this podcast, I'm doing nebulizer treatments. So I'm looking at life differently and I'm saying, I need to reframe it. Mm-hmm. You get to live this life. You get to. Not you have to. And when I reframe it, so I think what she would tell me right now is exactly what I've been hearing in my voice and in my spirit for the last few months. I have sourced and resourced you with everything you need. You get to do this day. You get to serve these people. You get to raise those grandbabies. You get to have resources. You get to eat today. You get to sleep in a house where you have heat today. You get to. And
Marissa.
I say, yes, I get to.
Phenomenal. And even though I think the whole interview is just a phenomenal gift and a masterpiece that I know I will listen to multiple times to just enjoy and bask in that deep, deep wisdom that is inspired and that is guided, all about the Voice family. If we were to remember you by one teaching, one quote, one phrase, one message, what would it be?
That I believe the world needs you rich. The world needs you rich. The world needs you rich in all areas of your life, emotionally, relationally, spiritually, physically, financially. The world needs you rich in all areas. And when you make a decision that you will live a rich life in your mind because you get to, that's the key. I live life rich. And I say it every day. I get to do this and I live life rich, no matter what. So live life rich. The world needs you rich. Make a decision today that the world needs, if you got to say it 500 times in the mirror tomorrow morning when you get up, the world needs me rich. The world needs me rich. The world needs me rich, because people who think like me, people who do the things that I do today in the world, people who serve others in the way that we do, these people, we need to be rich. We need to be rich emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, all about it, all abundance in all areas. I am rich.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. And I guess as the personal summary of that abundance clause of our podcast is that in the words of Christ that I referred to that abundance episode, he indeed has come that we might have life and to have it more abundantly. And so you have framed that in such a powerful way. Marissa, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, all of you that are listening today. I want to remind you that this was for you. You are not here by accident. Take it, listen to it again and again. It is not completely seeped into your soul, because this is where the enemy of your soul will get you. When we get off this podcast, they will say, oh, that's for other people. It's not for us. That's not our way. It is your way. You make a decision today. The world needs me rich.
Say yes to that. Today, prompted by empowering Marissa Nehlsen, say yes to yourself, yes to your growth, and yes to you living life rich. Start your journey by accepting Marissa's generous gift at marissanehlsen.com/introductions. See the link in the episode description. This is All About the Voice podcast, and I want to hear your voice. What has been of the greatest value to you today? Share your insight and share this episode with others. All links are in the description. I also want to invite the Voice of Happiness into your life via our iHappy Daily and iHappy Me apps, our daily energy boosters. You can download these apps, including a free version of iHappy Me from the Apple App Store or the Google Play App Store. For the voice of daily encouragement, grow with us with our free My Tree of Life Facebook group. If you want to join us in exploring how you can live your life with more freedom, head over to you2shine.com. That is YU2SHINE.com. I can't wait to get to know you and be a part of your journey of endless possibilities. Thank you again for listening to All About the Voice. I'm Victoria Rader, and I'll see you on the next episode.